Yeah, putting that light layer over the top of that messy stuff really takes care of it. And let's see this one. Give it a little bit more. Again, remember we're going to put those like tiger or zebra stripes on this. So a lot of this is going to fade off into the background. And the rest have a little bit more aggressive, darker bits, and kind of want that. Anyway, I'm just gonna play and get that all cleaned up. The ears still haven't dried, but they look like they've got a good adhesion this time. And it looks like Mr. Super Clear has dried on that baby. So I will continue on here getting these cleaned up, and then I will go grab the head. Good morning, everyone. I'm up early getting a head start on this baby that is taking me much longer than I intended for it to take. I ran into some trouble with those ears. I was having the worst time getting them to stick. And then when I finally got them to stick, I had a gap where the epoxy and the vinyl meet. And I tried to fill it, but I kept getting a gap. And I was just getting so frustrated, and I figured out what was going on. I was using my Dremel tool. Now the deal is, vinyl is very, very soft, and epoxy is very, very hard. So as I am trying to make a smooth transition here, the vinyl was just getting eaten away faster than the epoxy was. And if I tried to go as tenderly as I could over the epoxy, I could never really make that gap go away. I'm gonna leave the gap there for right now, and I'm gonna think on it. I can always fill it later, it's no big deal. I just wanted to get the baby going, and I didn't want to keep making these ears take up all my time, because this was gonna be a weekend project, and it didn't turn out that way. So I finally got the ears to stick. I painted face, I painted limbs, I painted the belly plate. So I started on the stripes, which was just my original color, that forget-me-not, mixed with a little bit of the Oxford blue, and I darkened it up. I let it dry overnight, and when I got out here this morning, it was this color, and it looks too zebra or tiger to me. And I understand that's how the stripes look on the avatar, but this is just too dark. I wanted it to be a little bit more subtle, and I decided if I go over it with a lighter paint, which is what I'm doing here, then it's going to look like paint. It's going to be thick. And I had to decide, do I leave on the dark stripes and let it look the way I want it to look, or do I just go over it with the light paint and risk having kind of that painterly look? And I'm going for the painterly look. That's just what's going to happen. So I'm spending my time right now going over the dark stripes the best I can with a lighter paint, and you can see the brush strokes, and I'm just not going to stress out about it. I'm going to do that and this, and then I'm going to finish up the limbs, the belly plate, and the head. And if you're doing an avatar baby, let me tell you, this takes forever, these stripes. It doesn't seem like it. I thought, I'll just whip it out in a weekend, it's going to be great. This is taking forever. And the two people I know that actually made avatar babies, they said the same thing. Oh my gosh, it took way longer than I intended. And that's okay, because I think it's going to turn out cool. And things I learned, next time if I do this, I will definitely use my airbrush. As for the ears, I might rethink that. I might not even try to sculpt ears. I'm not sure it was worth it, to tell you the truth. I'd have to troubleshoot that more before I invested my time in the ear making again. As for making the stripes, I'm just winging it, you know. I'm just making some curvy stripes. I didn't make a pattern, I didn't sketch it out. I'm just doing it and trusting myself. This is supposed to be super relaxing and kind of switching gears, because when you're making reborns and you're making a lot of them, they all start to look the same. You start to burn out a little bit. And, you know, I don't want to feel like a factory. I want it to be fun. And so I just, you know, switch creative gears once in a while, do something a little bit different, And that way when I get back to it, it's fresh again. This is what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna paint stripes for the next probably hour or two. Probably just for an hour because I have to get my son up for school pretty soon. I usually get up really early in the morning before the kids are up and get some work done. And this morning I actually woke up at 3 and I could not go back to sleep. And I kept saying, well, since you can't go back to sleep, just get up and work. And I thought, no, I'll just be dragging the rest of the day, try to go back to sleep. So I lay there for hours trying to go back to sleep and never could. So I'm still gonna be tired. I am just finishing up with this leg. I'm gonna compare it to the other leg, and I won't bore you any longer. I'll turn off the camera. I'll paint the other arm, the other leg, the belly plate. And then I might come back and have you watch me do the face for a little bit, just so if you have any questions. So what do you think? I lightened up the stripes from this to this. I think this looks better. I don't know. You let me know. You can comment down there. That's always fun. And I will try to read the comments. Ta-da! Alrighty guys, I'm going to paint some more and I'll be back in a bit. Okay, here we are. I am just finishing up painting the head. I am not totally excited about it. I mean, I don't hate it, but I don't know. I think that the stripes on the face were a little bit too bold and too dark and too many. But I can't really go back because once it's on there, it's kind of on there. So I'm just gonna go with it and finish it up. So here's the baby's face. I've got to pink up the nose, the lips, the ears. I'm going to do that next. All the tummy plate is done. And legs and arms are all done. Still darker than I want it to be, but not as dark as it was. And let me show you this palette. Here's a little secret. Put some saran wrap over this really tight, like you would for food, and put it in the freezer. And when you come back, take it out and it'll still be good. That's just a helpful little hint. Acrylic can be frozen. I've never used this paint before, but this paint will definitely freeze. So I'm guessing it's all kind of made out of the same stuff, so hopefully that will work for you. And when I come back, I'm going to let this dry really, really well. I'm going to come back and I'm going to pink up the nose and the ears. And then I probably am going to start shading with this really cool chalk. It's just a pastel. And so what I'll probably do is use my X-Acto blade and just shave some into this dish. Turn it into a powder. You can brush it off the chalk, but sometimes if you shave it first, the powder will go on a little bit better. And I'll use a firmer brush, something with like a stubbier tip. It's got a little bit of firmness that way. And let me see, maybe I can even start to show you. I don't know how it's gonna turn out, but I'm gonna try anyway. And this might not be dark enough, I don't know. Again, this is all just experimenting. It doesn't look like this is gonna be dark enough. Well, maybe I'll find a darker chalk. Maybe that's what it needs. And I experimented with this color chalk and it's actually working. I'm just rubbing it into kind of the creasy areas. Places where you would normally shadow if you were reboarding. Let me show you the difference if you can see it. It's very subtle, but I kind of like it. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do all the rest of the pieces. I'm just going to shade them all up and then I'm going to put a matte varnish on and go to the next step. Be right back. I matted that baby and well, I matted it and I chalked it because the chalk wasn't sticking really well. And then I did all the pink painting on the nose and the ears. That was just kind of boring. I just followed the lip line, went inside the ears with some pink. And oh, I was able to get that transition sorted out really, really well. I thought about it and I think what I was doing was I was working and concentrating on bringing it down, shaving it down, and really what I needed to do was build it up. And that's what I did. Isn't that kind of interesting? I think it's kind of ironic because isn't that what we do with people, you know? It never works if you bring them down, and if you build them up, things seem to magically work. So that's my little cheesy comment of the day. But yeah, I built it up and the ear turned out okay. I'm gonna give it another coat of matte, let it dry, And then I'm gonna experiment with something before I put the little white dots on it. I kind of want it to have like a shimmer, and I was wondering how to do it. And I thought, I have some very fine white glitter. Well, it's not white, it's kind of sugary. And I thought, what if I mixed that with a matte and pounced it all over the baby? I wonder if I'd get kind of a, I don't want a glittery baby. I just kind of want it to have like a sheen on it. Does that make sense? Well, here are some of my choices. I found some glitter that had a tiny bit of pink in it. It's powdery, but it's not like mica. I found some turquoise. It's Martha Stewart turquoise. I thought that could look super cool. And then I found some super fine. This is what I was thinking of using. It's not super, super glittery, but it's super fine. It would just give a little bit. And then I had this little eyeshadow palette. It's got a tiny bit of shimmer in it. So I'm gonna play a little bit and see what I find out. Okay, here we are. I'm gonna show you what it looks like after I put another matte coat on. Unfortunately, the powder's kind of separated. Not bad. I ended up using this palette. I have no idea where I got it. It is called Simple Pleasures. I don't even know why I have it. It's in my powders drawer with all my chalks and stuff. But it turned out great. It's got a tiny bit of shimmer and it's got all these really cool colors. And I went to town and kind of like powdered up everything. And I think it looks better. But I don't know if you can tell, the powder's kind of separated. They didn't stay pretty. I'm gonna powder it one more time, I think. Nose and lips are good. I think I'm gonna give it one more powder before I do the dots. And here, I don't know, the hands don't need it, I don't think. I think they turned out pretty good. The feet turned out okay, except for when I sprayed the bottom of the feet, they turned kind of purpley. I'm not sure what happened there, so I might powder the bottoms of the feet. The hands were fine. I think they look great. So I might not redo the hands, I just might redo the face. And then have to figure out a solution for this. I'm not crazy about the way that looks. Yeah, I'm not, this kind of weird stuff here. I'll powder that, and then I'm gonna do the dots. I am not going, and I didn't use the glitter after all. I just used the mica that's in that eyeshadow palette. The chalk to shade the babies a little bit. I think I'm all done with paint. I'm gonna use white for the dots. So let me tidy up this mess and get this doll powdered one more time, and we'll come back and do some dots.